HBAR holders, we have a serious problem on our hands and we have to address it in this video. So welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So if we take a quick look at Hedera, surface value of the Hedera network, things look like it's incredible, right? We have a lot going on. We have a ton of use cases in the ecosystem. And there is a lot going on, like I said. So as we really look at Hedera, is there anything to be concerned about? Well, to really get into it, we have to address a lot of things. Number one, let's start off with the performance in the last year. So this is what the overall year performance looks like. HBAR is down about roughly 6.18% in the current fiscal year. Now, performance-wise, I don't like to judge altcoins just right now because, let's just be honest right now, the entire market for altcoins has been pretty rough. And we're not yet in alt season. We're still waiting on Bitcoin to decide a path that it wants to take. But let's just be real, the performance of HBAR has not been great. We had that nice spike up back in May, which immediately did get sold off. It's actually around like April, May. And it got immediately sold off. Now, a lot of people did speculate, are the teams, like, is the team selling? And what we did find out was that Shane Higdon, who was the previous CEO of the HBAR Foundation, was dumping a ton of HBAR. So that is a very big problem, but he is now gone. But now, as we look at the overall price action of HBAR, it has been pretty rough. Is there still team selling going on? We're not really sure, but I would say the probability of it is still up there. But that's not a big concern to me. I'm not really concerned at all about, team taking profits or anything like that, or just selling to fund the network growth or whatever, because it happens almost on every single network. The thing that concerns me is what's going on around the network. Are there actual viable use cases going on that are live right now in the network? Well, let's start off with a few of the recent updates that are actually very bullish for Hedera. Number one, let's start off with this one. So Layer 0 is now tapped in with Hedera. They integrate it with Hedera. Institutional DeFi is the focus from a lot of these moves that are being made around Hedera. This is actually interoperability across the EVM, and Layer 0 is the choice of that. Now, Layer 0 is massive. They have almost 700,000 followers. They're one of the biggest players in this space for interoperability, specifically around EVMs and things like that. And the on-the-chain interoperability protocol, with over $50 billion in value transferred so far, has integrated with Hedera to establish the future of this ecosystem on the network. So very bullish stuff. If we actually look at this, we have through Layer 0 developers can deploy on-the-chain apps or OApps natively on Hedera and extend to 70 plus other chains, including Solana, Base, Arbitrum, Optimism, BNB Chain, Avalanche, and even Polygon. Alongside this, integrating with the Hedera network with Layer 0 builds on our previous work with Copper, Elliptic, and the launch of the Asset Tokenization Studio on Hedera, opening the door for more EVM-based liquidity to enter the ecosystem. And immediately, the benefits of this integration include the on-the-chain fungible token interoperability, which is the standard that provides asset-level interoperability for ERC assets on the Hedera network, a key challenge and priority for the RWA issuance and adoption. Number two is dApp connectivity. It allows Hedera-based dApps to directly integrate with the Layer 0 Hedera endpoint, providing a seamless bridge experience in app and opening up new opportunities to introduce new users to the Hedera ecosystem. And lastly, the Layer 0 Hedera endpoint also lays the groundwork for Hedera network integration with Stargate Finance, the fully composable liquidity transport protocol built on top of Layer 0. So this is great. And over the next couple of weeks, they're going to present a proposal to the Stargate DAO to help us build towards, or help us move towards enabling this integration. Now, all this stuff is great, right? Like, this is a great integration. Then, of course, we do have, a lot of the RWA tokenization use cases here as well, combined with the Asset Tokenization Studio on Hedera, and even the Stablecoin Studio on Hedera, followed by also the Guardian on Hedera. And then more recently, we did get the NFT Studio on Hedera. Now, like I said, all of this is great. We're starting to see a lot of the network, core pieces and pillars to the network becoming a reality. And we also have a ton of ecosystem projects. These are applications. These are Web3 applications. And there's well over 8 lists of them. And then, of course, enterprise applications as well. Again, 6 pages worth of projects within the enterprise space, and 8 pages worth of Web3 applications, which this is technically retail mixed with enterprise and things like that. The problem that I have, because again, I have been reporting on Hedera for well over 3 years now. My big issue here is not so much performance. I really don't care about the price action of any project unless this is what the network looks like. This is the problem. This is one of the biggest concerns to me. Because for 3 years, okay, we have been witnessing these enterprise applications and the Web3 ecosystem applications all being populated significantly. I mean, listen, there's been a ton of projects added to the ecosystem over the last couple years. The network growth has been significant as well, adding a lot of these pillars like the Asset Tokenization Studio, for an example, the Stablecoin Studio, the NFT Studio, and even Guardian. This is all great stuff. But the issue here is, where the hell are the transactions? One of the only big players that allowed us to get to the amount of transactions that we have right now, aka Atma, has basically disappeared off the face of the earth. And I question what is going on here. Because I get that enterprise use cases do take time, but for Hedera to only actually have one viable use case that is tied to the enterprise space after 3 years, I am quite concerned. Now, does this make me question the future of Hedera? No, it doesn't. But I do think that if HBAR is going to be a very big player this cycle, things need to change. Because right now, this is the revenue for the network in the last month. $45,000. Now, if we look at the last year, there's been well over $3.5 million tied to revenue. But remember, a lot of this is because of all of the transactions that did occur in the last fiscal year. But this has basically been halted. I mean, we're at 1 transaction per second. That is a problem. Now, if we actually look at the last quarter, 1.3 million, this is great stuff. Also over here, this is the last month, last week, last 24 hours, and also the last hour. Again, for a network the size of Hedera, I don't understand why we aren't seeing a significant amount of transactions. Why are there not any viable retail use cases that are transacting at 1, 5, 10, 20, 100 TPS? This is concerning to me because it feels as though the network is basically dead, opposed to just that one enterprise use case. Now, do I think that the future for Hedera is very bright? Yeah, I do, 100%. But the problem here is the short term. Because in the short term, yes, we are here to make a ton of money. But are we going to make money off of a network that can't withstand 5 to 10 TPS without that one viable enterprise application that's not really allowing the network to have massive revenue? I mean, even if we look at the all-time chart here for revenue on Hedera, so far it's made $6.3 million. That's not that crazy at all for a network in the space. We need to be hitting massive amounts of revenue if we want to be in the top 10, the top 20, the top, even 30. So I question what's going on here. Now, again, does network revenue matter 100%? Not exactly, but it does help to boost these altcoins into the top 10. And in fact, it's something that shows us how successful the network actually is. And right now, with these amounts of transactions, and if we look at the last 24 hours, I mean, this is not going to boost HBAR into the top 10. We look at other networks like Solana, which on October 24th, for an example, Solana generated 8.7 million in economic value from network activity. Just for reference, in the entire time that Hedera has been around, they've only generated $6.3 million. The reason why Solana is the number 5 largest project in the space, and if we're actually getting rid of Tether, it's the number 4 largest project in the space. The reason why isn't because of the network efficiency. A lot of people bring up the fact that like Solana's always going down and that it's terrible to use this out, this, that, whatever. The difference here is the fact that Solana is breaking records in terms of revenue. $8.7 million in a single day is pretty crazy. Okay. And their previous record was $8 million. This is the reason why Hedera is not in the same situation as Solana. It's because Solana actually has retail-driven use cases on it. Whether that be meme coins or not, it doesn't really matter. We're not judging the network on how it gets to these amounts of, revenue. We're judging it based off the fact that it has this amount of revenue. Hedera is lackluster when it comes to revenue, and it's lackluster right now in terms of even transactions. And we can't just celebrate the fact that, oh, guess what? Atma's back up, so that means that transactions are going to pick up again. No, we need to have some viable use cases going live on the network. There is no excuse for the fact that it's been 3 years and there's literally practically zero use cases that are transacting at 10 plus TPS on the network. It's embarrassing, to be honest. So as we really look at Solana, and it's not just Solana, by the way, like for an example, Tron, they just hit $577 million in a single quarter. That is insane. That's the reason why Tron is at number 9. Now, you might argue with me and say, all right, well, why is Dogecoin in the number 8 spot? Why is XRP in the number 7 spot? A lot of these are in the spots that they're in because of how big the community is behind it, how much funding there is, how much money is getting thrown at it. Because, I mean, look at the trading volume. Okay, we can go to Hedera down the list, right? Hedera has $25.3 million in trading volume versus something like, let's just go to Dogecoin for an example, that has almost $800 million in trading volume. And they have a massive community behind them. So it's not just about revenue, but revenue definitely helps. Tron being at number 9, it's because of how much revenue there actually is behind it. And a lot of this is also because of, stablecoin activity, DeFi use cases, things like that. So as we look at what's going on here, yes, we need to address the elephant in the room, which is this is the big problem. I don't care about price action of HBAR. I really don't. As long as we actually have some sort of viable use cases on the network. A lot of these projects that are struggling to keep up with other altcoins, the number one reason for that is because the network is basically a ghost town. For 3 years, I don't understand why there isn't a lot more use cases that are live, that are very large, that are great and successful projects, especially with how much funding is getting tossed around, especially from the HBAR Foundation. So I do question that. And I love Hedera. I love HBAR. I have been invested in HBAR and I've been covering HBAR for well over 3 years. But we definitely need to address the concerns and the elephant in the room. I do think that it would be great for Hedera to pivot and start supporting retail a lot more because we need something to happen here. We can't just cling on to one enterprise application to make Hedera look great. We need to see more. And by the way, it's not just a problem now that the market is slowing down. In Q2 of this year, which a lot of people would argue Q1, Q2 was like 2 of the biggest quarters of the year. It was actually 2 of the biggest quarters for the entire cycle so far. And even if we look at revenue, right, $1.1 and $1.4 million in a quarter. Again, this is not going to put HBAR in a top slot, especially when Tron is making $577 million in a single quarter. And Solana, I mean, let's just be real here. I mean, $8.7 million in a single day. That's impressive. I don't care if you hate Solana or not, it's still impressive. And it's the reason why a lot of these projects are in the position that they're in. Ethereum is number 2 because of the fact that Ethereum also has a massive amount of TVL tied to it, which is constantly trading every single day. I wish that they had the TVL here, but I know it's in the, billions of dollars. And, as we really look at that, right, these things do matter. Network growth, what's on the network, what's trading on the network, all matters. Solana went absolutely parabolic back in like Q1, Q3 of this year. Back here, it went from like 30 some dollars all the way up to like 200 some dollars. And this is because of meme coins and the meme coin craze. but it also is tied back to DeFi and things like that. But I don't judge how these networks get to the point where they are. I don't care about that. Listen, if Hedera had, meme coins and a meme coin market on it that was transacting massively, it would be a very beneficial thing, because we wouldn't be looking at this saying, oh, hey, it's 1 TPS right now on the mainnet. Or, oh, in the last 24 hours, Hedera recorded $1,000 in revenue. I mean, this is embarrassing. Now, like I said, short term, this sucks. Long term, I do think that it will improve, but, we just need to be realistic here. And by the way, if we remove this wallet and we actually look at the last, 24 hours again, I think that this is the Treasury wallet, if I'm mistaken. It doesn't really give me too much information, but I thought that this was the Treasury wallet. I might be wrong, but regardless, right, we need to just be aware of the facts here, and we just need to be aware of what's going on. As an HBAR holder, as an HBAR supporter for so long, we need to start to see, a very quick response to the retail side of things. Because so far, all we've been hearing about is enterprises, institutions, and yes, we're getting so close to that, being a big deal. We need to support retail right now to get these, transactions pumping, to get the revenue pumping, so that Hedera themselves have revenue to reinvest into the network. Solana and a lot of these projects that are so big in the space, it's because, yeah, sure, you have the meme coin craze, but you also have viable use cases that retail can actually utilize. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on. If you guys have more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.